This week, I check out one of the first games I ever owned on my Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo World Cup Soccer. I figured with the World Cup going on at this time, it was appropriate to review a soccer game. And although I played 2 years of soccer in elementary school, of which I was one hell of a bench warmer, I really don't know a lot of how soccer works. But that's fine, because this game is more of an arcade sports game than a realistic simulation. From the start, you don't have a lot of options on game modes. If you're going at it alone, you just have the tournament mode, in which you battle through about a dozen teams to win the World Cup. If you have one friend, you can also do that cooperatively, or battle each other. This is also one of the few games that makes use of the satellite accessory, so if you have 1 or 2 extra friends, or a third brother like I used to, you can play a game against each other with up to 4 players on the screen at any time. Pretty sweet, but since I didn't have anyone while doing this video capture, all I can really show you is this screen. So here's how the game works. You have 5 people that are on the field, in addition to a goalie. You can only control the center, so you'll be doing a lot of running around yourself. Before each game, you are given a small choice on how the team will work, such as whether your teammates will shoot on their own, tackle defenders, or wait for your command, or even pull the goalie. You can also swap the players on the field, which may help with small stat differences. Although the game doesn't show any stats, I did seem to notice that some characters are faster or stronger than others. Once you go through these, you start the match. You have 4 minutes per half to score more goals than your opponent. Win, and you get a password before you move on to the next team. The passwords are only 5-digit numerical passwords, so it's easy enough to write down. The controls to get the ball in the goal are simple. On offense, A passes and B shoots. If a teammate has the ball, pressing either of these buttons will tell that teammate to pass the ball to you, or attempt a shot if they are close enough to the goal. On the defensive side of the ball, B slides and A attempts to tackle the ball carrier. There is a reason why you would want to slide over tackle. Later teams are more powerful and tackle attempts will fail, causing damage to your attacking player, until the opposing player takes enough damage to be substantially weaker. In addition, if any players, other than the human control players, take too much damage, they will be permanently downed until a goal is scored or the half ends. Goalies are immune to any attacks while in the goalie box, but if they happen to leave the safety of the net, they can also be damaged. This can lead to a game where the entire enemy team, possibly minus the goalie, is down, pretty much making for a perfect scoring opportunity. Also, for the record, no, your player cannot be permanently downed, so no matter what, you'll get up after an attack. Going back to shooting, there are a few different ways you can do so. B always gives a normal shot, and you can hold up or down while shooting to aim the ball slightly. Pressing A near the net will allow you to try to use your head to bop the ball into the goal. However, pressing A and B together are where some fun lies. If you are moving forward and press A and B together, your character will do a leaping headbutt lunge at the ball. But even better, standing still will allow you to perform a bicycle kick, which brings us to the special shots. Each team, other than the US, has a different special shot. For the US, each character has a different shot available. These shots are difficult to defend against, and if any non-goalie player gets in the way, they will be popped into the air. Goalies can occasionally catch these shots, but it doesn't happen often. Because they are almost always a guaranteed goal, you only get 5 of these per half. If you perform the bicycle kick when you exhausted all of your shots, it will just be a normal shot. In addition though, sometimes a normal shot will result in one of these special shots. I never figured out whether this is random or if there are specific situations that result in this happening, but it was nice to see it when it did. I will admit that the first few games might be a bit boring to new players, as the starting teams, Cameroon and Japan, are so easy to defeat. But once you get to about the 3rd or 4th match, when the teams start tackling and being more aggressive overall, the games do start to get more entertaining. In fact, the last few games start getting brutal in difficulty. Going up against Italy, there were constant goals being scored, and it's here when I realized that a tie game results in a loss. The next team, for the semifinals, was Argentina, which I feel is the most difficult team in the game to go up against. The reason why is simple. They are fast as hell. They can easily outrun anyone on your team, and the special shots run rampant. Yes, it's doable, but as a kid, I had to choose the Argentinian team to go up against the USA instead. It's also a shame that by picking Argentina, or really any of the other teams, You don't get whatever stat boosts that team has when you go up against them as the computer opponent. The field is just simple grass, but if you do play against friends or family, there are 5 other choices. Playing on these will alter the game mechanics slightly, such as being able to trip over rocks or sliding halfway across the field on ice. Again, since I didn't have anyone here to play with, sadly this is all I can show. Just take my word that it's incredibly fun. The graphics of the game look pretty good for its time. Yeah, the fields all look the same, other than the multiplayer matches, but each character does have a different look, although the flicker you'll experience is to be expected. It's a bit odd that the ball is a flesh color instead of the normal white, but you do get used to it. So, as simplistic as the game looks, it works. As for the sound, there's not a lot for the sound effects, but the music is pretty good. At first, it may seem like there is only one track for the games themselves, but eventually it does change up to a more dramatic theme in the later, more difficult battles. It does get catchy as well, so that's always a plus. Nintendo World Cup Soccer is a fantastic, solid soccer game for the NES. It's a blast alone or with friends, and if you can get 4 people together, things can really get competitive. It's also really cheap, so if it's not part of your collection, you can buy it without breaking the bank. Although I did own this game as a kid, I still have fun today, and it's not just for nostalgia's sake. If you're a soccer fan, you should check this one out. Final score? 6 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.